Talent Incorporated, a short story by Neil M. Thorne. Christopher always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, but, for all the reasons of the world, never managed to find the time. Now, though, thanks to the marvels of science, it could be his in an instant. Upon his death, the talent that once existed in his father had been decanted into its purest essence and was now contained in the small vial before him. According to the accompanying instructions, all he needed to do was inject it, and, come morning, playing the guitar would be as natural as breathing. Though his father had never made more of that talent than performing in a local band, for him it was never about success. Christopher remembered the joy it brought others, their souls lifted above the troubles of everyday life, and as a child he had been in awe. His father told him it was nothing special. Anyone could do it, if only they had the patience to try. That was never something he had in great abundance, but, come the loss of his father, he regretted not pushing himself. In the months since, he had considered starting many times, but there was always something else to do, and he feared he might never get round to it, until finding out that old beat-up guitar was not all he had inherited. Before today, he had never given much thought to the company, Talent Incorporated, the cost of their products generally being far beyond his means. The world had been amazed when, only a few short decades before, they had announced that the talents once existing in people could be preserved. No longer did great skill have to be lost with the inevitable passage of time. If someone wanted to learn a new language, compose music worthy of the greats, or even just darn a sock, it was now all possible. Talent was no longer a gift blessed to those fortunate few. Now anyone could be great. For a price. Some called it an abomination, but any such concerns fell by the wayside, for the idea of talent being something a person no longer had to work for became all too overpowering. As a consequence, Talent Incorporated became one of the fastest growing companies the world had ever seen, with it possible to buy any form of skill. It was not something he imagined his father ever wanting to be a part of, but in truth, he likely never realised it was a benefit of his life insurance. The first Christopher had realised was when the package, bearing the logo of the company, had been delivered to his door, the courier giving her condolences as well as congratulations, as the gift was signed over. Legally, it was his to do with as he pleased, but Christopher was naturally uncertain how to proceed. There were options, of course. Talent Incorporated were prepared to buy it back, and though only a medium-level guitar skill, as it was classed, it would still raise a tidy sum. Others liked to keep it as a token, as was once done with ashes on the mantelpiece. But Christopher didn't want this either, for it would always remain a temptation. He could donate to a charitable cause, giving some poor unfortunate a better chance in life, but even this did not feel right. In an idealized world, he imagined a society where skill and talent were passed down, making the future of humanity richer with each new generation. All the while there was profit to be made, however, nothing would change, and, so far as he could see, a new class divide was being created, with talent steadily becoming something that belonged only to the social elite. Homegrown talent, too, was all but becoming overlooked, with businesses needing only to bank on what came before rather than invest in something new and unknown. This left no real drive for people to push themselves, for if they could make nothing from their skill in their own lifetime, then why bother to put in the effort? That wasn't the point of learning, however, but the hope of success pushes many, and a fear was growing it would lead to the death of originality. Talent comes from life, of experiences faced and challenges overcome. The reason his father could hold a crowd wasn't down to skill alone, but because he put every fibre of his being into doing what he loved. Without that heartfelt passion, which came with an understanding of everything it took to achieve, then the result left would be hollow. Though no longer able to speak for himself, his father would have said, everything has its day, and, in the end, we must each step aside and allow that part of ourselves to fade, making way for something newer and better to follow. Should talent be allowed to endure beyond its time, then all that came before would become meaningless. Still, more than anything, Christopher wanted to be able to play the guitar, which really left him with only one option. Come morning, he rose with a new sense of purpose, and once ready, picked up his father's old guitar. He smiled to see the signs of its use, but, running a thumb across the strings, realised how much time had passed since last it was played. Once tuned, something his father had been able to do by ear, he got on learning the first few basic chords. It might take him a lifetime, but hopefully it would be interesting along the way. Thank you for listening, and if you have enjoyed this story, please feel free to like, comment, and follow for more.